The Lenovo Legion 5 Pro gaming laptop doesn't perform as well as it should. I'm going to show you why and what you can do to improve it. Just quickly for context, in case you missed my game benchmark video, this is how the Legion 5 Pro compares against other laptops in Shadow of the Tomb Raider with the game's benchmark at max settings. I've got other 3070 laptops with the same GPU power limits hitting 120 FPS and above, so what's up? On paper, I would expect the 5 Pro to be up there with those other 3070 laptops, as it's got a good CPU, good GPU, dual channel memory, and the ability of disabling Optimus with the Mux switch. But something's holding it back. Upon looking inside, I noticed that the memory appeared to have chips on one side rather than both. This isn't necessarily an issue in itself, but it did make me realize that the memory is pretty much the only thing I can change to affect the performance. Both the CPU and GPU were soldered to the motherboard and can't be changed. So I tried swapping the memory. Now I wasn't expecting much of a difference, as the memory that came with my 5 Pro and the kit I swapped it with both have two 8GB sticks in dual channel. Both run at DDR4 3200, they both show with the same timings of CL22, and both are single rank. Both memory kits appear to be about the same, so let's see what the differences are in some games. Then afterwards I'll explain what's going on. All testing was done with the same Windows updates, NVIDIA drivers, and BIOS. Literally all that's changed is the memory, and that new kit that I've tested with is linked below in the description. Here's the difference in Shadow of the Tomb Raider with both memory configurations. We're seeing a 10% boost to average FPS with this simple change, and the Legion 5 Pro is now where I'd expect it to be, just 1 FPS behind the XMG Neo 15, and to be fair, that one still has better memory as it's dual rank. Battlefield 5 was tested in campaign mode, and there was also a 10% boost to average FPS in this one. However, there was a much larger 51% improvement to the 1% low result. In fact, the 1% low result looked so good, I retested it days later and got the same results. The Legion 5 Pro with the new memory now has the best 1% low score in this game out of all laptops I've ever tested. Far Cry 5 was tested with the game's benchmark, and we're looking at a 12% increase to average frame rate in this one. There's also a 12% boost to the 1% low as well, so not quite the massive difference noted in Battlefield 5, but clearly there are still decent gains to be had. So that new memory is clearly offering an improvement in games. But why is this the case when the specs of both memory kits are essentially the same? I've run the AIDA64 memory test on both, and we can see that the new memory kit is offering some nice improvements to memory speeds and even cache speeds, so it's certainly helping out compared to the default stock memory. I've used the Zen timing software to show more information about the memory, and when we get down into the weeds, we can see there are actually some differences between the RAM in secondary timings, particularly to TRFC. I wasn't too familiar with these timings, so I asked Steve from Hardware Unboxed for an opinion, and he said that TRFC can make a huge difference to Ryzen performance. Another difference is that the stock memory is 1RX16, while my memory is 1RX8. The 1R means single rank, while the X8 or X16 specifies the number of banks, so I'm not sure if that difference is also playing a role compared to the timings or if they're linked. So the difference is definitely in the memory, but is the memory in my review unit the same as others? To confirm, I also reached out to some other reviewers that had the Legion 5 Pro. These are the results from Matthew Moniz in Canada, so same memory as mine and same timings. Just Josh in the US also had the same memory with the same timings again, and one more just to be safe, Stephen from Own or Disown, also in the US, yet again had the same memory in his 5 Pro too. Big thanks to those guys for sending over that information and helping me confirm that I'm not alone with this memory. You can check out their channels linked below. I could also see the memory in Lisa's review on the Mobile Tech Review channel had the same memory, and if we set the Dave2D video to 4K and enhance, it's the same kit again. Alright, so I'm clearly not alone in having this memory in the Legion 5 Pro. My next question is, customers that are actually buying this laptop also getting the same memory? Or is it just something that was only sent out in review unit samples or something? To find out, I joined the Legion community Discord server and asked some 5 Pro owners to share their results from Zen timings. These units were purchased in Germany and Singapore. They both have the same memory as mine with the same timings. It was good to confirm all timings were the same in case my sticks had issues or something, but based on this, they're all the same. This one was provided by Cal, who was an admin of the Discord server. It was purchased in the UK with 32 gigs of memory instead of 16, but as we can see, many of the timings such as TRFC are the same as my 16 gig kit, and they noted improvements with a different 32 gig kit which has better timings. So this may not just be limited to the 16 gig configuration of the 5 Pro when you buy it from Lenovo. This isn't by any means a huge sample size, but wherever I looked around the world, the same memory kept turning up in the 5 Pro. The Lenovo parts list for the 5 Pro lists a number of different memory options. I'm not sure if these are just what they're saying are compatible, or if they represent what they may potentially sell it with. I've also retested a couple of games at the native 2560 by 1600 resolution to see if the differences are as extreme at this higher resolution, as I was only looking at 1080p earlier. I've redone Battlefield 5 because it had big differences at 1080p. The differences at this higher resolution are much more minor in terms of average FPS. However, we're still seeing some nice gains to the 1% lows, 15% higher at ultra settings. Cyberpunk 2077 on the other hand is pretty GPU heavy, and the differences are much smaller here. Generally, the new memory offers a little gain in the 1% lows at most settings, but for the most part there's no difference in average FPS most of the time. Now I'm not going to go and redo all 13 games at 2 resolutions that I previously tested, as that takes about 3 days. Plus, those results that I've already shown in the game benchmark video with the default RAM represent what you would actually see with a default out-of-the-box experience, as I tested it with that memory that the laptop seems to come with. Outside of gaming, I've also tested Adobe Photoshop with the Puget Systems benchmark, and we're looking at a 5% boost here, so still an improvement, but the similarly spec'd Neo 15 is a fair bit higher, but again that one has dual rank memory too. This isn't meant to be a single versus dual rank comparison. I'm just giving an example as to why the 5 Pro was lower. Maybe it could be even further improved with dual rank. Yeah, look, of course we're expecting memory with better timings to perform better. What a surprise. But that's not the point I'm making here. The point isn't even necessarily that the Legion 5 Pro doesn't have the best memory available. The main takeaway to me is that we can have 2 different kits of memory that perform differently despite on paper having the same specs. Those secondary timing values shown in the Zen timing software don't appear on the laptop spec sheet when you buy it. In fact, it looks like most memory kits that you can find online to buy don't specify that information either, unless you go out of your way and find a detailed datasheet or something. I haven't tested the different memory with any Intel laptops yet, so I'm not sure what that difference might be, or if Ryzen is just extra sensitive to memory. There's nothing particularly special about the memory I installed the test with either. It's just a random reasonably priced kit I bought a while ago for testing. Again, the specific memory that I tested with is linked down in the description. The performance difference in games appears to be a bigger deal at lower resolutions, or in games that depend more on processor performance. So whether or not buying new memory for your new Legion 5 Pro is worth it will depend on what you're actually doing. But as we've seen in this video, there can clearly be gains to be had. It's also interesting that the memory in the Legion 7 has better timings than the 5 Pro. I'm not sure if it costs more or by how much, but when you consider a 5 Pro and 7 with same CPU plus GPU, we're probably going to see the 7 performing better simply due to the better memory difference. Unfortunately, the full review of the Legion 5 Pro was delayed while I got to the bottom of this. But now that I think I've worked it out, the full review should be up in a couple of days, so make sure you're subscribed and don't miss it. Come and join me in Discord and get behind the scenes videos by supporting the channel on Patreon. And for now, you can check out some other Lenovo gaming laptop content over here, so I'll see you over in one of those videos next.